You love it.
As the episode begins, there's a festival for the children, and we even get to see Rarity's parents again with Sweetie Belle. It's nice to see that her mom is properly naked this time. Okay, that really doesn't mean what it sounds like. Anyway, Rarity has apparently agreed to build a traveling theater for a puppet show, but while it meets her usual aesthetic standards, she forgot to make it functional, and the puppeteer can't actually use it. No, I'm afraid this won't do at all. Now take a gander at my big fat butt crack. That's right, just stare into the void, bitch. Seriously, this guy's even harsher than I am. Though I am a bit surprised that Rarity's the one building this thing in the first place. I mean, let her decorate it, sure. The puppeteer even admits later that he never had a problem with how it looked, but for the actual construction, you might want to get someone more practical, like Applejack. Spike offers a bit of ham-fisted support, and Rarity proceeds to have the most adorable breakdown I've ever seen. That right there honestly makes the entire episode worthwhile. Spike goes to the castle in the Everfree Forest looking for something that might help. They try to do the who joke with Aloysius, but Spike says, "Fuck your bullshit." Thank you! I know Aloysius at least tries to be helpful in this episode, but he's still the most annoying of all the pets, and frankly, that who joke is the first thing I would have chucked after his introductory episode. Spike uncovers one of the castle's many hidden passageways, which actually helps elevate Castlemania in retrospect, revealing an obviously evil book of magic that's been locked away. But Spike takes it and avoids the resulting death trap without even noticing or giving a fuck. Ha! Nice. Apparently, the spell inside lets you create anything you can think of instantly. So of course, one of the first things Rarity does with it is try to redeem herself with the puppeteer, and then does some extra work with her fashion designs. But now having several years worth of free time ahead of her, she starts changing other things, eventually making over the entire town to suit her personal tastes. It even starts getting dangerous, with Twilight having to use her magic to rescue ponies who would otherwise be trapped. While all this is going on, Spike admits that something needs to be done about it, but he continues to give Rarity false praise anyway, feeling afraid that being honest might make her stop talking to him. He tries being tactful at first, even stealing the book with help from Aloysius, though apparently the dark magic has grown strong enough that Rarity doesn't even need the book anymore. And then everything changes into an episode of Saved by the Bell for some reason.
I'm so excited! I'm so excited!
I'm so scared.
That, combined with the prospect of the magic spreading throughout the rest of Equestria, finally makes Spike break down and tell the truth, that Rarity's new creations, no matter how well-intentioned, are bad. Not because they aren't well-crafted, but because she's forcing everything out into the public without thinking how it might affect anyone beyond herself. And so, with the spell broken, the episode ends with Twilight telling us that she had to team up with Luna and Cadance to restore the town, though apparently it wasn't in the budget to give them a cameo. And finally, Spike says, "Wow, Twilight, you look like shit." What? I'm just being honest, proving that he's learned nothing. As for the lesson here, it feels like they're putting another spin on Fluttershy's key episode, illustrating that it's important to be kind, but being too kind can be dangerous. Only this time, it's shown how that can affect the creative process for someone like Rarity. And as someone who's trying to become a full-time artist, this is something I can relate to. Back when I first thought about putting my reviews online, all my friends told me exactly the same thing. No, you really shouldn't. And even after I went ahead with it anyway and started asking for feedback, most of them still only gave me vague, non-committed responses, which is why Spike saying, "It's so Rarity," resonates so well. So yes, I completely understand why having support from your friends can be incredibly important. But at the same time, being dishonest with someone, or not saying anything, because you're afraid of how they might react can be even worse in the long run. This goes all the way back to Lesson 0, which showed that sometimes we need our friends to help save us from our own worst impulses. In that episode, the others were right to tell Twilight that she was overreacting, but the situation spiraled out of control in part because of how dismissive they were being, and partially because no one could be bothered to keep an eye on her when she was clearly acting irrationally. Likewise, in this episode, Rarity thinks she's doing the right thing, but she's too focused on herself and needs a bit of a reality check. When she has the ability to instantly make whatever she wants, she ends up spewing out a bunch of random ideas that turn into a big mess, and she doesn't seem to care all that much what the public at large thinks. This ends up leading right back to the same problem that she had at the beginning, making things that look nice but aren't functional. Making Rainbow Dash cloudbust in style, nice G3 reference by the way, doesn't matter if she can't actually do her job. Making a birthday party that you'd enjoy doesn't matter if it's not your birthday party. And of course, while it's easy to say that a bird's opinion doesn't matter for anything, it does matter if you're designing a birdhouse that it can't fucking use. In any case, it takes honest, constructive criticism from someone close to her to make her finally pay attention to what she's doing. And seriously, if your closest friends can't be real with you at a time like this, then how close are you really? It's understandable that Spike wants to be supportive, and clearly no one wants to try and destroy their friend's dreams, but at the same time, you need to have some idea where to draw the line when someone's actions become destructive. This is an episode that I'm glad I waited to review, as my initial impression when it first aired actually wasn't very positive. In my original notes, I wrote that there was a problem with the overall tone, starting with Spike's overdramatic fawning over Rarity at the beginning. It just felt unnecessarily overdone, especially after a certain reaction that he gave her back in Simple Ways. In that episode, it seems that while Spike still likes Rarity just as much as ever, he is beginning to wise up to her bullshit a little more. So in this episode, it feels like he's being made stupid for the sake of convenience. Combine that with the constant presence of Aloysius, who I've never been very fond of, and this episode really just rubbed me the wrong way at first. Thankfully, after repeated viewings, I came to realize that my issue with Spike really is just during that one part at the beginning of the episode, while his actions throughout the rest of it are fine. Though I also don't appreciate how it's implied that he completely missed the point of the lesson just so the episode could end with a lame joke. It's kind of a nitpick, and it isn't really that big of a deal, but it's there. In the end, though, this was another good episode for Spike. I don't think it's his best, but it's got a really good lesson, and considering the walking joke Spike had been turned into for most of the season, this episode provided a much-needed transition before going into Equestria games. Inspiration Manifestation gets a 7 out of 10.
I'll even tell you, girl, when you start looking fat, 'cause all your so-called friends